Hi, hello, Wagwan. Welcome to another episode of the group chat. So, as you can see today in the group chat, I'm here by myself, and by the time you guys see this episode, it will be the new year. So, happy new year, happy 2024, according to the man made calendar, but I digress. I'm really excited for the new year and all the things that I have for you guys. And I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into the topic for today. And the topic is entitled conditioning. And I don't know how many people are aware of what that really means by just hearing the word. But an individual's conditioning is basically the unconscious beliefs, patterns, and behaviors that were like instilled in you through various influences throughout like your childhood and throughout your life. And they kind of like shape the way you perceive and engage in the world. So I'm going to start off by kind of like sharing some of the beliefs that has significantly impact my life choices. And so one of the most significant influences for me was music. And ironically enough, I have an episode coming out next week that talks about sound frequencies and how it kind of like affects the brain waves and patterns and stuff like that, something of the sorts. But music has been a big influence in my life. And most of you guys already know I was born and raised in Jamaica, and the music in Jamaica we are very well known for can be explicit. Like, okay, it's very explicit. It's explicit. I can't like stress that part enough. And I grew up listening to people like Vibes Cartel. Matter of fact, I remember like my childhood days walk around saying "Agaz I'm say," which basically means I was a big fan of Vibes Cartel. Because of the musical influence of my cultural background, I don't think I had the choice, or obviously I had the choice, but I didn't know I had the choice to choose to wait until marriage to have sex. The music that I was listening to was saying, oh, you're going to be doing it as soon as you're allowed to be doing it. And you're going to be enjoying it because that's what the music said I was supposed to be doing. It was a heavy influence in my life. Like, I enjoyed the music so much, it made sense that I would also enjoy the act at an earlier age without too much thinking about how sex also influence your life and the partner that you lay with and the soul ties and all of those other things. I wasn't thinking about that because I was already heavily influenced by the music. So it's kind of like an easy transition into, well, shoot, I already know how it's supposed to go down according to the song, so it's about to go down. Even like artists like Lady Saw talking about doing it with your heels on, and like I was already influenced by these music, so I've low-key played almost all of the roles that those artists talked about. So in what ways do societal conditioning play a role in shaping my beliefs about success, happiness, and fulfillment? Success varies from person to person, and the people and the lifestyle that I grew up seeing and being familiar with define success as having material things. Once you get a certain type of car, or if you're working a certain type of job, if you can afford to catch a flight, right, that meant that you were successful. However, as I've grown, I've been able to shift that belief and realize that those things don't determine your success. Or at least for me personally, it's like material things don't determine my success anymore. It's more so like, am I truly happy with whatever it is that I have? For me, that is successful. Being happy, going through life, regardless of the material things that I have, but just having an internal happiness and peace, and no regards to what society is saying about me or how society is perceiving me, because I might not be driving the latest car or I might not be catching a flight every other month. And success for me is letting go of those limiting beliefs and really not caring about what other people think. Like, I think that's like really successful, because there's a lot of people who aren't able to do that and are living their lives dictated by what other people think. And that's not successful. If you have that car or that job or is doing that thing because you like what other people are saying about you because of it, are you really successful? Right? If you got that promotion and you're like, yeah, I got this promotion and now women are going to flock to me because I'm making this tax bracket, are you really successful? Because like, if you have that job just because you want to attract women who want men who are in a certain tax bracket, and then you're like, okay, I have the women now, but you're still not happy. They're only around you because you're making a certain amount of money or you're driving a certain car, right? And of course, this works both for men and women, right? A man is only attracted to you because you always, and I'm not gonna say because you always have a wig on or because your eyelashes are always lashing, or you have on a certain dress or you dress a certain type of way to attract a man, but like, are you truly happy? And I know that there are a lot of people who do these things and are genuinely happy. And to me, that's success. If you're genuinely happy, then you have all those material things. It's giving to me, seek ye the kingdom, and all these things will be added to you. So seeking that internal connection with God, right? As I'm mentioning the kingdom and referring to the Bible here, having that internal connection, internal, like that type of peace that you can only get from a relationship with God, having that, and then all of the things will be added to you after the fact, right? You'll be driving a car that you actually want to drive, not because other people say that's the car you should be driving, or because other people are like, oh yeah, that car is cool, but because you actually want that car or that career or that business or whatever it is. It's just like, without the internal work first, all of those things that were added onto you doesn't really matter. And so how does like family and cultural conditioning contribute to formation of habits and routines that defines our daily lives? And ironically enough, my mom and I were having a conversation recently. I didn't talk to her about this podcast episode that I've been planning for some time, and the topic and the details and why I'm choosing to talk about this and the things that I realized. But we did kind of like end up, my mom and I, we've come, as I've been growing, I've been able to have more effective communication with my mom to help her to understand the things that I'm learning and why I am who I am, and why I am basically shifting my beliefs and kind of like changing who I'm becoming, or figuring out who I'm becoming and all that good stuff. And I was sharing with her about conditioning and how the music did play a role in why I did not make the decision to wait until marriage before I had sex. And she, it was resonating with her, and she's like, okay, it makes sense. When she was a little girl, she really idolized the things that she saw on TV and people of a certain status that had luxurious things and acquired the finer things in life. So for her own conditioning and the things that dictate her life, she wanted those finer things as well. She wanted like fur coats. Like, she has a fur coat right now in the closet, that I guess is something that she wanted since she was a little girl, because that's what she saw on TV. That's what she was influenced by. And as we were talking, I was like trying to see, okay, what did I take from my mom that relates to her own conditioning? And while I don't really care for the fur coats and the luxury stuff, like, they're nice or whatever, and if I'm attaining it, then I'll attain it because I want to, but it's not what drives me. And but what did kind of like trickle down is that my mom will, like, if I'm out and my hair is not up to par, my mom's like, you couldn't have done your hair better, or why you always got a hat on, or I don't always have a hat on, but just kind of like an example of some things that she may say, um, because for her it's very important to like look a certain way when you go out, because you want to give this illusion that you care for the finer things in life and those things are important to you, or you are always put together in front of people. But because I know I'm not always put together behind closed doors, one thing about Shamika, throughout my years of like learning, I show up as authentic as I can, even more so now than then, of course. So I never tried to put on a front like, oh yeah, I got it all together, so I'm gonna put on this fur coat, or I'm gonna put on this lace front every time you see me outside. That was never Shamika. And of course, because my influences were different, I was not watching TV when I was a little girl. And even now, like fast forward, I stopped really watching TV some years ago. I don't keep up with cable or those reality TV shows. I'll watch a movie now. I'll definitely Netflix and chill, or Hulu and chill, or whatever. But not really so influenced by the things that I see on movies. I was the tomboy outside playing with the guys, racing, playing games, and those are the things that kind of like drive me now. So just to kind of like highlight moments, those are like some of the moments where I became more aware of behaviors that were in my subconscious conditioning that were negatively impacting my well-being. And okay, so how do societal norms around body image and appearance contribute to my conditioning and influences? So growing up, like let's say teens, late teens, somewhere around there, I remember like hearing a lot of people, and they were talking like, oh, um, if that person's teeth is this type of way, like they can never talk to me, right? And I would hear like mostly women talk about stuff like this, and just like a lot of other like vain certain things. And I think I heard that particular one so much, and because of my current dental situation, it made it really hard for me to accept myself and wanting to be accepted by other people, because I'm like, if they're saying this thing about men, like that means the men have all right to say that about me. So I would never put myself out there to be embarrassed in that type of way. I avoided dating through. I didn't date in high school. Like I might have had a crush here and there, but I either kept it between me and my girlfriends, um, and that's about as far as it went. Like I never actively pursued any type of relationship because society was just like, you're not allowed to not have all of your teeth and then be out there dating other people, or at least I guess that's how it was perceived into my younger mind. Growing up and shifting my beliefs to realizing, one of the most pivotal things for me was when I shift my beliefs to realizing that I am still worthy, and I still do deserve the things that I want, whether it be the finer things in life, whether it be love, uh, those things that society deem imperfect or not ideal does not dictate what I can have for myself or who I am or what I choose to do, or at least they did. But becoming aware that those things dictated because society said it, or because I was influenced by the things that I was hearing, and it was like in the subconscious part of my brain, and now realizing like, okay, that belief does not serve who I'm becoming, who I am, and the things that I want. So therefore I have to shift that belief. I have to release that from myself and acquire a new belief that is actually serving me and the things that I want in the lifestyle that I'm trying to live. In my journey, what has helped me to be able to like shift my beliefs there is like mindfulness practices. And ironically enough, when I started recording initially, I was not sitting like this, right? I was just like sitting at an angle. Um, but this like leads into like this segment of it is like, mindful practice like meditation and self-reflection were really key into becoming confident enough to go after what I want, even as I'm still trying to pursue fixing my imperfections, and still knowing that I'm gonna get what I want, whether it be before or after I fix my imperfections, and spending that quality time with myself intentionally, right? Because I've had seasons of isolation where I was just isolated, feeling bad about myself, just trying to figure out how to fix something, or how to shift my life, or how to make these changes, or how to become, or to be, or to think, or to feel. Um, but all of that, those moments were just like draining, because I wasn't doing anything that was actually like, feeding me, or actually helping me to understand who I was and why I was feeling that way, and why I made the decisions that led me up to this space of that isolation. And that was like the first time I really experienced that level of isolation, was, going through depression and a bad breakup in 2017. And fast forward, not having certain friends around me anymore after, coming out of that season of isolation, and then not having certain friends around me more to kind of keep me busy and distracted with the fun friendship stuff, and just being a bit more withdrawn and being by myself, but with I guess less people to think about, and more less people to think about, and less concern to like, okay, what I need to fix, or how do I want to look, or how do I want to be perceived by other people. More so, how do I want to perceive myself? What do I want for myself? What does the life that I want look like? These are the questions that I'm asking myself as I've been intentional in my isolation, that, I guess call it the second time around. And then allowing for that intentionality to lead into me being more authentic, right? Showing up as my authentic self, showing up in a way that's the best way to put it. Just showing up as my authentic self, not concerning what other people think. Even, right, my first couple episodes was like 8 months ago. And I was like, it was my conditioning that kind of like led me to have that hard pause between 8 months ago and today. And The only difference between like my old self and my new self is that during that time I didn't beat myself up for not posting consistently then to today. I was like, you know what? When I start posting it, I'm going to start posting it. And my goal, I do plan to be more consistent this go around, guys. Bear with me. Um, but my old self wasn't consistent in certain things. Wasn't consistent in showing up in the light, if you will. Like I don't really care for being in front of a camera. Talking on camera before, was uncomfortable for me. So that hard pause between like 8 months ago and now was also a result of my conditioning. But like I said, this go around, I did not beat myself up about it. I was like, I am who I am. Who are going to tap in is going to tap in. Who don't. And I'm going to be okay either way. If no one taps in, no one shows up, it's like I'm going to keep, doing what I want to do because I've grown into this person that knows that I can show up this way and still deserve what I deserve and still be loved by those who love me, or still be supported by those who support me. Matter of fact, when I first started, I received like a text message from someone I was not expecting to receive a text message from, sharing how they saw my first video or whatever, and they were encouraging me, to kind of keep going. And I really wasn't expecting that, because when I started this, I definitely lowered my expectations, because expectations of other people can really ruin a situation. So I've learned to like not expect anything from anyone else. The only person that I set expectations on are myself and how I'm going to show up, because that's the only thing that I can control. And then when I do fall short of how I want to show up, like I said, I did want to be consistent when I started 8 months ago. But I fell short of that. And what am I going to do? Cry about it? No. You just keep on moving forward, 1-0 each day. And if there is a break in between that, there's not much that you can do to change, just, a quick turnaround to change. And to, I guess, kind of like wrap things up, if I could offer a piece of advice to anyone out there who are navigating like the process of challenging their own conditioning, it would definitely be self compassion, right? Have self compassion for yourself and patience. I think patience is very key. Like I literally just explained to you, like I took a hard pause 8 months from before today, before releasing this new episode. And in the midst of that, I was patient with myself, that, okay, offering myself patience was one of the best things I could have done. So because of that patience, I confidently am showing up again 8 months later. The old me would have been like, man, I can't show up 8 months later. Like they were counting on me to be consistent and I dropped the ball. So bump it. I'm gonna go off grid and regroup and probably try something new. Again, like when I did with photography. For those who don't know, I started it and then stopped because I hit a curve and I didn't like how I was going around that curve type of situation. But allowing myself to be patient with myself, giving myself that same grace and favor that God gives us on a daily basis. Like He's the most patient person when it comes on to, figuring life out and where we want to be and how we want to walk and be ambassadors of Christ, showing up every day. And it's the same way, like showing up for ourselves, because the journey is challenging, right? And it's ongoing. So you have to allow yourself that grace to evolve and foster genuine growth and transformation. And what you're looking at today is my growth from 8 months ago. And funny enough, those few episodes, which is also why I kind of took a hard pause when I started the episodes, when I record them, it took me a very long time to record them because I was overthinking everything. I was nervous. I was like wanted it to be perfect. I wasn't sure if the angle that you guys are seeing me from, if it was ideal for me. I wasn't sure how much of my teeth was showing up on camera and did I like that and how I was going to feel about it after the fact. I didn't want to re-watch it over again because I wasn't in love with my voice. But I've grown from kind of like all of those fears and, limiting beliefs about myself to where now I'm recording in like kind of like one sitting. I might have a few parts I might have to crop out, but I have grown to now be okay with my authentic self being on camera, getting ready to be posted on the internet. And it doesn't get any better than that. It really does not get any better than that. And again, I'm just really excited for the rest of 2024. Excited for the stuff that I have for you guys. Just a reminder, next week I do have a really great episode with a friend of mine talking about sound frequencies, and it kind of relates to this topic as well because sound frequencies do play a role, with the music. And sound frequencies is not limited to just music. It's also the voice that you hear from that family friend, or your parents. Like, we hear their voices in the back of our mind, and it dictates our lives whether or not we are aware of it. And it's when you become aware of it, you can kind of start to decide, okay, I'm aware that this thing has been influencing my life and making decisions for me. Do I like the decisions it's been making for me? Yes or no? Okay, I can keep this belief and go forward because it's not such a bad belief. If you don't like the decisions that it's led you to make, okay, how can I shift this belief? What can I use to replace this limiting belief on myself? So, practicing mindfulness, becoming more self aware, showing up as your authentic self, and doing what is called shadow work. I don't know how many people are familiar with like shadow work, and I feel like some people, especially maybe the saints, will think it's something bad because it's, the word shadow may have like negative connotations. But shadow work is basically just visiting all of the things in the unconscious part of your brain that are lurking in the shadows, and realizing what those things are, where they came from, and the role that they've been playing in your life from then until now. And then choosing what you want to do with it. And you'll be surprised when uncovering your conditioning and doing some shadow work. It's been a game changer for me. It's been a real game changer. I'm like, okay, I made these decisions because of that. It allowed me to forgive myself for all of the bad decisions that I made, for all of the mistakes that I made, for not showing up as my authentic self sooner, because of course I would have loved to be have doing this like in my 20s, at least my early 20s. That would have been so nice to have this realization like then versus now. Again, it could have saved me so much kind of like trouble. And to be fair to myself, all of that trouble that I experienced in life also is what led me on this journey to self discovery, wanting to redefine myself, reclaiming back my power, and standing firm in that, and knowing who I am, just showing up as who I am, and feeling good about it. Despite there are still people out there who are probably like looking, watching, and thinking negative, and I can say that with a smile on my face because I generally don't give a fuck. But my goal now for 2024 is to ignite more people to show up as their authentic self and love it, enjoy it. um and yeah, that's the goal. That right there will definitely kind of like help the type of shift that's inevitable because the world is shifting, things are shifting. And if you're focusing on the negative shifts, then that's all you're going to see a lot of. Just a little pro tip: what you focus on is what you feed. So focus on all of the positive shifts that are happening, and I feel like the collective as a whole will start to experience those positive shifts. And that's a wrap for this episode. Please share your thoughts in the comments. Share something that you'd like to hear me talk about in the comments. Share something you'd probably like. I mean, whatever you want to share, the good, the bad, the ugly. I'm here for all of it. No longer afraid of any of it. Excited again to just, grow with you guys. And that's that. Peace out. Love y'all a lot. I'm show up as you.